One. We live.
We are live. Yo, yo, yo. Hello, everybody. And welcome to the Sidepod. Welcome to the Sidepod. I have with me today, as always, Azim Chuck Banatwala, Arjun Chuck Ravi, and Sherzad Chuck Shroff. What's up, babies? How's it going, babies?
Woo, baby!
I'm going to call everybody baby now. Until the next race, I've decided everybody's baby now. I just want to have that Willie T. Ribs confidence while talking to everybody in my life. How's the car? How's the chassis? How's the location?
It was just it was very cringy towards the end, I gotta say, with the, for all the allegations of, oh, Indians are so loud and all of that. I'm like, buddy, please, have Indians ever taken people escorted by Undertaker bikes to a podium?
It is single, and it's amazing that you say that because that was exactly my thought. I was like, there is no Indian gaudiness or lack of tact that comes anywhere close to what we are seeing. In the final, first of all, already I was irritated because I'm like, I'm sleepy. Khatam karo, okay? Like, please khatam karo. रात के 3 बजने को आ रहे हैं. Like, I have not properly slept for 3 nights. खत्म करो. और फिर कुछ भी हो रहा है. मतलब थोड़ी तो शर्म. Anyway, एक तो दिमाग खराब हो गया था पहले से क्योंकि fake yacht, fake पानी, fake sand, fake fence, pool में mermaid है. ठीक है? I'm like, ये कोई गुटका बैरन की शादी है क्या? मतलब हो क्या रहा है यहाँ पे?
Any interest in the race? They were like just frolicking in the pool.
It was just Americans being most American and like Omkar Singh अच्छा था, guns नहीं था podium पे, बस वही बचा था.
Dude, what was with the helmets?
Dude,
Yeah.
This is like Panawing Har to all guys. Welcome.
To continue your point, Azim, about Indian gaudiness, I have all Indian brand integrations are off the hook. Like Manik Chand Pan Pasand award is fine. Okay, we don't make people go on stage wearing NFL helmets. So it's not required. Like,
Can you imagine Sebastian Vettel celebrating with cricket helmet? I mean,
like
just...
yeah. Like हमने नहीं किया यार, मतलब बुध सर्किट पे randomly we didn't make them come out in like Bollywood this thing. Just कुछ भी मतलब बहुत ज्यादा अमेरिका हो गया मतलब.
Just give me 10 seconds. I have to get my notebook with all my.
Like,
They do at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin also. When they come onto the podium, they make them wear the Stetsons, like the cowboy Stetsons.
Yeah, the cowboy. Yeah.
अरे ठीक है, Stetson is at least something. चेहरा तो दिखता है.
And if you remember last year, I mean, they've been doing this for a while. Last year, remember Shaq in that like open top, automobile, like coming to give the trophies and everything. Yeah. I mean, they've been upping the ante. Like next year, it was Shaq. Then it was this Harleys and everything. Who knows? Vegas, freaking.
I don't know what's going to happen at Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
No. Vegas, there's going to be no champagne. There's going to be trays of cocaine. And like $1,000 chips from Caesars, and instead of like the champagne, you have to bite the head of a bald eagle, and its blood will spray everywhere, and that's how you express your freedom. Basically.
Like Texas, if they plan it well and they do it like Texas, Miami, and Vegas, they can like show US escalation, like through just that, celebration escalation.
I can't take like, 3 US races in a row. I can't.
They want to have 6. Is going to be absurd.
In a row, नहीं मतलब मैं नहीं होगा मैं. बहुत ज़्यादा अमेरिका हो गया.
I think this is why they interspace the US races with like 6 cultured. Next, we're going to Circuit de Catalunya, just to detox from this madness.
Like somebody has pointed out in the chat, did you guys see Sainz's face as he walked away from the interview?
God, yeah.
He has the sense of how is 57 laps not the worst thing that has happened to me today?
Yeah.
Right? 57 difficult laps were the easy part of my day.
It's kind of like, have you watched the film Talladega Nights? And in that, Sacha Baron Cohen plays like this French Formula E driver, and it's sort of like Europe and America. The clash of Europe and America was so evident with these European drivers and the American sort of extra.
It's nice sometimes to see Europeans look culture shocked at not India.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's nice, it's refreshing. Like, yeah, you know what? Other white people can also be terrifying. You go enjoy how that feels.
There was an overwhelming I am proud to be Indianness that was happening. For first time in very long.
Full on. Dude, even after the qualifying, right? Like, did you see how Danica Patrick, like, who did she ask for a high five? Max Verstappen, no?
Yeah.
Like, well done, high five. Like, literally, like, it was like, and I don't mean to use the meme, but chota bachcha hai kya matlab?
You know, it's indicative though of how much Formula One has grown in America. That, like, you know, Michelle Obama was watching FP3 like a nerd. You know, like literally, like she was in the Mercedes garage.
George Lucas is also there. Like, acha pod race aise hota hai kya?
George Lucas has been there many times and everything, but Michelle Obama, you know, like literally they're watching FP3, not even quali or anything. You know, it's kind of very indicative of how.
No, dude, screw all that. This was the weekend where Mercedes announced the Will I AMG. I mean, where do you go from here? What are we doing with our lives? Poor guys, like it was right there. Just go to the Williams garage. It's right there.
Yeah, it's just there. That's true. That's so true.
But yeah.
Will.i.am will solve porpoising.
I feel the race in general, though, like the whole weekend in general, was a bit of style and a bit of substance. That's my key takeaway from this race. Like there was style in the right places and then in the wrong places. Like they were very fashionable people, but fake money. You know,
Elaborate?
There was like, very fashionable people all over the place, but fake marina for no reason, fake mermaids and like that kind of thing. So there was style in some places and then there was some weird style in some other places. And same with the racing. Like, you know, it was interesting for a bit and then it was kind of boring in the middle. And then like it became interesting again. Like, oh yeah, Max had a great race and everything, but kind of in the middle, it was kind of Mickey Mouse.
We didn't see Max for so long, right? Like I think in the middle, they just completely like dropped the front runners because there was nothing happening there and we were just seeing.
It's starting to become a recurring theme though.
Yeah.
When he's sort of at the front of the field, you just don't see him because and I mean it's compliment to his driving. Because he's essentially untouchable when he's out there. And the car is performing at like peak this thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think let's start with, we'll get to the racing, but I think there's a lot of stuff that we had to talk about pre-race and in the build-up. Lando Norris's helmet, that kind of stuff. So what caught your eye, Sherry, in the fashion department?
So there are two things. What I shared on the group, guys, if anyone can share those pictures right now, I don't know if we can do that. But Vettel and Hamilton both protesting in their own way. Hamilton for the jewelry badge and Vettel wearing his underwear over his suit. That for me in the fashion angle was obviously the highlight. Of course, there were lots of full clothes and all that. Yeah. But I mean, in the sense of this for me was like a really, kind of fun way of them, saying their piece and both owning it like they do. With Hamilton's 3 watches and Vettel's chuddy, I was very impressed. And I thought those were definitely 2 moments where I was like, okay, wow, this is going to be an interesting weekend.
I'm telling you, Vettel's that dad who's knows he's not going to be here in 2 seasons, energy is just growing and growing and growing. Sebastian Vettel is 3 races
put Vettel
away.
On stream.
Like he's 3 races away from just being like, मैं गाड़ी भी नहीं चला रहा, मैं वॉकमैन लेके brisk walk कर रहा हूँ ट्रैक पे. तुम लोग देखो, तुम लोगों को जो देखने का है. मैं chill मार रहा हूँ.
वो वेस्पा पे जा रहा है, वेस्पा पे जा रहा है. स्कूटर पे जा रहा है.
Like 0 fucks he's got. 0 peak 0 fuck energy is Seb Vettel right now.
But it's amazing. It's so good. It's such a good like dad energy.
Yeah.
You know, like It's
like
all like
it was
Papa
like
jokes,
it was kind of like I'm doing it for the young ones. Like like I'm doing it for you kids. Like since if you have the balls to do it, I'm gonna do it. Like
I mean, Mick Schumacher would disagree about him being there for the young ones. So
this weekend especially.
So I guess the whole Mick Seb parental thing is temporarily on ice, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so this was Hamilton's rings thing that I've put on. So it was 2 watches, 8 rings, and
Two
what
watches,
was
three
it?
watches.
Three watches,
Ah,
three
3
watches. Two
watches,
on one
8
hand, one
rings,
on the other hand. And lots of
and
necklaces.
chains. Nice. Yeah, see, the thing is,
Like
in
just
the
a-
US, that's one of the credits to the US. Like, you can do this in the US and get away. You can't go to Saudi Arabia and be like, "Ha, tumhara rules, fuck off."
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
Dude, Saudi Arabia, they tried
So
to talk
true.
for 3 seconds about not racing because a rocket goes by, and the Saudi Arabians were like, देखो फिर हम गारंटी तो नहीं दे सकते कि तुम ठीक से वापस सऊदी अरेबिया से बाहर जा सकोगे. आपने वो जमाल खशोगी डॉक्यूमेंट्री शायद नहीं देखी है. That happened basically.
Yeah.
I quite like the Mercedes livery though, the multicolory thing that they did. That was pretty fun.
It's quite cool.
They clearly have no weight issues. They can afford to put more paint on their cars, know, with like all of the things. Like, you know, everybody else is like scraping off paint, like
They're like thoda gadi baithega.
Gadi baithega, yeah, exactly.
And Lando's helmet, guys, that was a moment. Like, I mean, that was a good one.
That's
I mean,
cool.
he had a shitty race, but I loved I thought it was really coolly done.
I don't know about how cool it was, because every time I saw him, a part of me was like, that's cool, but a part of me was also just like, idiot. Like, it had the vibe, no offense, it had the vibe of, and look, who here has not been in a position where they commit to a fashion choice? And then you've committed so hard that there is no sort of turning this boat around halfway through the weekend.
It's called a hat collection. That's what it's called. Yeah.
That's literally what it is. But see, you have all this going on. Lando had to commit to the part, and it was going great up until the part where you have to sullenly walk back to the paddock while looking like you have a basketball for a head, and that's where it all falls apart very fast.
And David Croft was like, well, I guess Lando Norris can kill some time by bouncing his helmet around.
Yeah, by dribbling his helmet back to the pits. I was like, okay, this is not...
Very mean.
It was too good.
But interesting.
What a title battle we have on our hands, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, before we get into that, guys, it is very important to tell the chat to smash likes on the stream.
Please smash
What is going on?
Hey,
Smash.
are there some super chats also, Rohan, that you should be reading?
There are a few, yes.
I will very quickly read out super chats before we get further into the discussion. Abhishek Verma says, honor to the mechanic before every race. Sherry ka kala jadoo, Max ki gaadi se nikalo, hum jeetenge. And Albon's cars and tires are definitely on cocaine. Valtteri Bottas says, was enjoying the side mirrors view so much I forgot to look ahead. Looks like I'll have to wait another day to defeat both Mercs. That was a heartbreaking moment because, man, he literally went wide and there they were. Literally there they were.
Well, why do you think he went wide? Yeah, because, dude, Mercedes hacked his radio just suddenly out of nowhere when he least expected. It was like, Valtteri, it's James. And he's like, what?
James.
What? How?
Like, sorry, wrong channel, as you were.
And Russell doing to Lewis what Lewis does to Bottas, says Rabiul. Abhishek Verma says, RV Azim, why is short shifting and early braking done in the wet, and why do some drivers short shift on long straights in 7th gear before a heavy braking zone? How is MGUH different from MGUK? We will get to that. Menji Krishna, thank you for your super chat, even though you've retracted your message. Krishna says, American people be like, I thought Drive to Survive was another reality show. And Abhishek also says Miami Grand Prix, more like GTA Miami stories.
That actually fits.
That fits. That absolutely fits.
Yeah, just like when Lando Norris DNF'd, actually it was called Wasted. So. Alonso was on 3 stars wanted by the end.
Oh man.
Poor guy.
Poor Mick Schumacher.
Hey, somebody pointed out, poor Mick Schumacher, of course. Yeah. Somebody pointed out Alex Albon as well. I mean, what is this tire whispering magic that he has that like is getting him points? And the red hair. What is about the red hair as well that it's like, it's working for this kid so well?
Yeah.
I mean,
But
Azim, were you thrilled when the points happened, when the penalty sort of thing was given to Alonso and everything?
I mean, for me, it was bittersweet because Alonso is my favorite driver on the grid. But I was like, okay, so if not him, then Williams is getting point, and it was 0.2 seconds. So I was really hoping
Yeah,
Albon would get that ninth place. But
yeah.
no, he did. I think he got fortunate again, like Russell has with the safety car. But I think one point to note over there definitely is I don't know whether it's a difference in like enthusiasm or what it is between Russell and Hamilton because you could tell from their pitch strategies and the radios where Russell was very confidently saying, you know what, okay, we're not going to box, we're going to stay out, we're going to wait for a safety car. Whereas when the safety car came out, Hamilton's like, I don't know, you tell me. So he
Yeah.
was that unwillingness to make a decision. I mean, was quite not Lewis
Late,
like.
yeah,
Strange.
Azim. Honestly, it was too late for Lewis. Which is why he was saying, I don't want to be held accountable for taking this decision because they had to pit Russell first because he had pitted. And by that time, they didn't want a double stack. And then it was too late for Lewis, which is what he said, that I'm not losing the position because of that. So you guys decide and tell me if I can make it out or not, which I think is fair. I don't think it was unwillingness.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. Then how can you immediately follow that up with, I feel like you guys have failed me in strategy tonight?
Yeah.
No, I think he means the overall strategy. Like, as in, like, Russell was obviously on a different strategy because he started on a different tire. As in terms of, I think he meant overall strategy, not that particular tire change specifically. We're kind of like, I'm at the losing end again with whatever we've planned. I think that's what my take was on, what I heard from him. But yeah, I mean, I knew there was going to be a lot of conversation about, Russell doing better than him and whatever. But again, I think it's strategy and luck. I mean, both, as we said, like if there wasn't a safety car, Russell would have been behind him for sure. And this would not have happened. And again, if, they had maybe double stack, Lewis might have had the chance to stay ahead, but that didn't happen. So that's maybe where he felt the team strategy, maybe they decided not to double stack, which was why he lost out possibly. We don't have that. I didn't hear any of that conversation, so I don't know. But I that's what I'm assuming, which is why he was pitched, because there was no chance that he was gonna make that. Stick with Russell on those tires.
Credit to Russell to sort of
definitely
credit
to
to
get
Russell
to where
and also,
he got,
and also to sort of have the nerve and the confidence in Formula One to be like, "Bhai, dekh, safety car hone wala hai, hone wala hai safety car, and we can make this part of our pitting strategy." And then just sort of holding his nerve all the way through on that, while Hamilton basically had to sit in a corner and be like, "I am the Bottas now."
Yeah.
But he's also riding the wave now. I feel like because he's done better on most races, he's got that thing going right now where he's on that zone of I want to prove myself. I've been better. I know I'm going to be better. And I think even he got lucky with the safety car last time as well. So I think it's just that thing of when you're on that streak, you're kind of more excited is what I feel. Like you heard that excitement in his voice as Aziz said. You could tell that he was excited about taking that risk also.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just about like, and he drove amazingly to get to that point anyways. I mean, when he took that decision, that's another story. But I'm saying in terms of to get there was a fab drive. And I think for Mercedes fans, it was a great weekend to see them somewhere competitive, like in the sense of, like even Lewis, like actually overtaking people was like, oh my God, wow, this is happening. Or Russell moving, up the front where he's not stuck where he is because like he's qualified badly and there's no chance of overtaking. So I think that way it was a great interesting weekend to see that happen. And then I guess McLaren not being competitive at all this weekend was like another. So I think it's still like very weekend to weekend, like we discussed last time. Like you there's no guarantee that anyone's going to do well at a track at this point.
Yeah. For McLaren,
I agree with you, though, it was positive for Mercedes. I mean, they did just a small thing that they did bring a bunch of updates for this thing. And like, while their Friday pace was maybe a little too deceptive, it was definitely a step up.
Yeah. And Russell was, very competitive through the weekend. Yeah. Like not just the race, but I'm saying even
no, Friday he was
practice,
amazing. Yeah. I mean, his qualifying time, I think like they got it. It's like a track temperature thing or whatever. His qualifying pace was slower than his FP2 pace, which was kind of strange. So, yeah, I mean, I think they've got still a lot of those gremlins in the car to figure out, but definitely looking like they're going in an upward trajectory.
Looking like the third best team right now, definitely.
Yeah.
Like they managed to at least bridge that gap and be like, okay,
Yeah.
we're like
for
third
sure,
best
for sure.
after
Yeah,
Ferrari and
yeah.
Red Bull. And for McLaren, I think this is something that they pointed out in the Saudi Arabia and the Bahrain races as well, where they said that when there's high speed and low speed corners, our car is rubbish. And you saw that again for Australia, for Imola, when there was medium speed corners throughout, the car handled very well. So yeah, going to be interesting. I think they'll do well again in Spain. Circuit de Catalunya again is sort of medium speed corners for the large part of it. But yeah, it's so interesting. The handling dynamics of all the cars change race to race. You just never know what's going to happen.
It's damn exciting. I mean, I think all of us got our previous predictions also.
Oh yeah.
wrong.
Should we even mention the predictions?
Shall I?
Oh no.
You know, we should.
We should.
Let's skip the segment.
Because
guys,
why
I
not?
feel.
They're all
why not?
wild predictions.
Because why
All
not?
wild
Let me
predictions,
pull them up. We could have. I'd just like to point out, like now that you're all hanging your heads in shame, we didn't have an episode last week.
Yeah.
We could have just not made predictions, and somebody. I'm not going to say who, I'm not going to name, basically decided on Friday to be like, guys, predicte hai yaar, maza aega. And now, here, I'm so ashamed of mine. Oh my God. All right, so start with Azim.
yours. No, start with yours then.
Start with yours.
I'm going in order, guys.
Oh no.
All right. I'm going to start with Azim. Azim qualifying actually said Chuck Leclerc, baby. Checo Perez. And then Russell.
Yeah.
Your race prediction was Perez, Leclerc, Alonso. Your wild prediction was Hamilton to finish with more points than Max. So,
in fairness, I made these predictions after FP1. All right.
Yeah.
True. It's one of those examples of the fact that in this case, first impressions are not necessarily last impressions at all. Sherzad Shroff. Your predictions were qualifying was Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton. Your race prediction was Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, and George Russell. Your wild prediction was that both the Bulls would not finish.
Is it even wild anymore at this point, this prediction?
This segment is called Wild Predictions, guys.
It's a domestic prediction right now.
Yeah, pretty. Also, also Sherry, just like it's a slight language issue, but there's a difference between prediction and hope. There's a slight difference between the two. But
I thought that they were going to have reliability issues and stuff, and Perez did struggle with something, guys. I mean, I was onto something, okay?
That was very funny. That was very funny.
Tiny blip in the...
That was very funny, though. Like, I'm losing power. No, you're not.
Yeah.
I mean,
not.
like, what
Just
are
but
you
a scratch.
saying? Like, how are you saying this?
Yeah.
No, you're not. And here's some detailed coding that you have to follow.
Yeah.
FP7 exit 2 plus minus fail 3 and do some calculations in your head, and then you got power again. You know, it's like as if like driving a car.
Basically, Perez ka gaadi, Windows 95 pe. So,
I think they've included a calculator also on the steering wheel for Perez.
It was like poor guy had to convince them. He's like, how are you saying this? I am losing power.
I'm like, तू race नहीं देख रहा है क्या? तू किधर bathroom में क्या? What the hell?
And the audacity, right, of that guy on the pit wall to be like, nahi Ray, it's all in your head, bro.
You're just
like,
losing the toe.
How are you gaslighting the guy? How are you gaslighting the guy who's actually strapped in and trying to go at 330?
So yeah, I was on to something, okay? I mean, it wasn't a wish list.
Sure, yeah. It wasn't.
Everybody
It was just a completely 100% scientific weather prediction. That's all it was. Arjun Ravi. Actually, I think you had the best one of the lot, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh no.
Right? No, never mind. Sorry. Your quali predictions were not bad. It said Max, Charles, and George. So it didn't really fall in that order, but you know what? This thing, race predictions were Max, George, and Lando.
Oh my God.
That Lando one's sticking out like a sore thumb at this point.
Yeah.
Because the other two, pretty good. Your wild prediction, and this is actually, it's a credit to the race and to this thing, most safety cars in Grand Prix history. And there was a point,
I meant in brackets in Miami.
In Miami, fair.
So
fair,
3
fair,
points.
fair. Yeah, you're right. You got it right. You got
I got
absolutely
it.
right.
That's what I got right. Like technically the most safety cars we've ever had
It's
in
true.
Miami Grand Prix history.
It's true. Yeah. It's absolutely true. Though to be fair, I can see why you made that prediction, because I think all of us saw that sort of turn 14, 15 area and went, lots of goo is going to happen here.
ये तो Latifi ने बनाया है ये track.
Hey, let's not forget there was a point very early in the weekend where we were like, is Sainz the Latifi now?
Yeah, shit.
And then I genuinely think for me, driver of the weekend, to come back from that and to come back from that streak of sort of spins and this thing that he's had, and to sort of hold it and be there. I thought actually, well done. Well done, baby.
I would have probably said, for me, I think Max was the driver of the weekend purely because of the lack of running that he had in free practice. And I was reading a couple of articles about him also. And first of all, this entire parental abuse thing of his is quite interesting.
It's fucking
very interesting.
Oh, yeah. Should we get into that?
Yeah, I mean, we can get into that.
First let's finish Rohan's predictions.
Oh, there's no need.
Yeah, no, totally. Please
there's
finish
no need.
yours.
Totally there's no need at all.
We're all sinking in the fake Miami water.
Fair. Like a mermaid in the Miami water. Quali predictions were Max, Leclerc, and Perez. And my race predictions were Max, Perez, and Hamilton. My wild prediction was that both Ferraris, and for some reason, I don't know, extra mean to Danny Ricciardo, it said will not finish. I said both Ferraris and Danny Rick will not finish. All right, so I really got to eat my hat on this one. So Arjun, if you've got a spare one, send it over. I shall eat it with this thing. To which, by the way,
you saw Danny Rick in the crop top. And
I saw Danny Rick with James Corden, and I was just like, this is a bad juju. And Azim's response to my prediction on the group is bye. But yes, Max Verstappen.
So I think let's talk about the weekend first and then get into the daddy issues.
Yeah, fair.
So I think for him, because I was reading this article where Max Verstappen, I think they did mention that for him to get to grips with the car, so a lot of drivers rely on data and like the analytics of what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. Max Verstappen has always been very clear since his karting days that fuck all your data, I go on track and I figure it out. So everything he does, and particularly on a new circuit for him, to not get that free practice, that also sort of reflected in like my predictions where I did not have Max in my top 3 at all, because I was like, he's not had good running in FP1, FP2 also kind of screwed. FP3 got a little bit, the quali, you could see the lack of running where he made that mistake, which is very uncharacteristic of him. Like we've seen him do it in Saudi Arabia under the most immense pressure, but usually in qualifying the guy is like, he might make a tiny error here and there, but to completely lose it and go wide and have to abort the lap, that's not something you usually see from like a championship driver. But the race start that he got was absolutely fantastic, and he struggled so much after the starts. And I think so. I mean, he went down, he made the great move on Sainz, the one that really mattered. And you know what? I think if Carlos Sainz had not had the last 2 or 3 races the way they have gone, he would have shut the door on Max. I think over here he was like, you know what? I don't want damage. I don't want another race fucked on my first corner. I'm just going to let him pass. So it was very self-preservation from Carlos. And after that, it was really just about the car. I mean, that Red Bull car, the way they set it up was just no degradation, straight line speed. And Ferrari, I think, they are going to have upgrades next week. So clearly, they need to reduce the drag on that car, because otherwise Red Bull will be... Red Bull will have an advantage.
It's starting to look to me like if once that thing gets ahead, there's just no getting past it. Like again, at this point, once it gets ahead, if there's no failure, there is just no catching back up to that car. Like that sort of early season momentum has now definitely, after like 5 races, switched to, man, if that Red Bull gets in front, it's over. Like it's just game, set, match.
Though it was close at the after the safety car when Charles
Yeah,
had
very
like
close.
couple of laps where he was like within the DRS and it was looking threatening. But like, man,
True,
in a
but may
straight
I
line,
ask a
that
question
car is a
then for
rocket.
that? Exactly, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, right? You're saying it was a little
Yeah.
close after that safety car.
Yeah.
But now
it's a
imagine
rocket.
the positions reversed. If that
Yeah.
safety car had come on with Leclerc ahead and Max behind him, dude, he would have taken him. Like there's just, it's not a question with that car right now.
Yeah.
So if
I
they
mean, I was very surprised with like Perez's lack of like after he pitted for like the medium tires and everything, and I thought like, oh shit, he's going to easily overtake Sainz, and he's probably going to like maybe even challenge Charles. Like I think after the race, he also said like we missed out on a 1-2. I think like it was totally lined up for him. So it also needs, I feel like, that killer instinct, man. That's
but
like just,
I think both, as you said, Carlos and Perez are in that kind of slump where they are like, we don't want to mess it up further, or we just want to, keep our head down and get things going. But I don't know. Somehow it's not like they're not seeing the same, obviously, results as Max and Charles, and it's just like. It is, you can see that mental game coming in now where you're like, okay, and it's with everyone, even with Lewis, like you can see he's like, I've never been the second best in any team and I don't want to be that, like as in that sense of all the drivers are kind of feeling that pressure with this season to kind of prove themselves. And like everybody wants that shot of like, okay, whether it's in whatever position you're in.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting to see because we've not seen that like in a really long time, right?
Yeah,
like
it's damn exciting.
Never.
I mean, that was Max and Charles.
I'm with Ankit in the chat here who says on your point about I haven't been second best in the team. There is a Nico Rosberg sitting up somewhere right now, sensing a disturbance in the force.
Imagine how salty he would have been on the.
We are just waiting
comms.
for him. Yeah, if he was on the comms, I mean, those comments were like next level. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it as a like Hamilton specific. I'm just saying that every like team on the grid is kind of feeling that pressure where everybody is like, there's, we all want to prove ourselves, which is pretty amazing because we haven't really seen that for many seasons. It's been like, the top 2-3 drivers are like there and everyone else is there. But now it's so bunched up that you're like.
But a lot of people in chat saying that Perez carried a 20 horsepower deficit for the rest of the race as well, which is why.
And imagine even with that.
Thank you for pointing that out. Everybody except Emmy_182_ Rita Brata, who's like, did they even watch the race? Ja marna bhadve. Matlab, sorry. After that word from our sponsor.
As Martin Brundle famously said once.
From our sponsor.
As Martin Brundle famously interviewed Patrick Mahomes on the.
Yes!
Did you guys watch the?
Yes! Oh my God, that was so funny.
Hilarious.
But y'all were going to go into Max's daddy issues. We've gone completely into another zone, guys.
Okay.
Before we go there, a couple of other drivers in the race. Ocon, surprisingly
well done, very good.
Again, benefited from safety car. And Alonso, terrible luck again. I think he had made the right decision, stuck behind Gasly, went to pit to undercut, got a 6-second pit stop.
What a great start also.
Four positions in the opening.
Amazing start. Like classic Alonso, like finds the thing, commits to the line, takes it. Amazing. I loved it.
But again, I think we're seeing this with him because he's finally got a car that, he can actually like show us what we've been missing all these years. Again, and I think that's amazing. That's the thing, the drive, the hunger that is there is freaking insane.
I've never seen a driver, I think, with this much hunger. Like this. My theory is that at some point, many years in the future, when Fernando Alonso passes away, he is going to drive his coffin out of the graveyard. Like I have no doubt about this, like at all, and it's going to be blistering.
But the thing for Alonso is that you have to hope that he can get a few good results because he's also the type of character who, when things are not going his way, suddenly like he'll just start throwing a fit. He's temperamental, so when it's going his way, he's fucking absolutely on it. And you can still feel he has the enthusiasm, but after the last like three races, pretty much, you can say Australia, Imola, and this one. All three, I mean, one was his own doing, obviously, with putting it into the wall, and Imola was not really his fault, Schumacher, and he had to retire the car. Again, over here, not really his fault, because I think without that pit stop, he probably finishes ahead of Russell. Because he had that much pace to do it. So yeah, it was disappointing for Alonso for sure. But Ocon again picking up the pieces, showing that he's super consistent, that he can just keep like very Albon like in that sense. Just keep going, keep driving, preserve the tires. He's the guy who took those inters to one set of inters through the entire Turkish Grand Prix last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, good race for him as well.
I like that Albon-like is now a descriptor.
Yeah. Albon-like. And
the driver who's living his best life, though, I mean, the two drivers are still probably Bottas and Magnussen. Like, Magnussen is just having the time of his life. Like, you know, I mean, whatever. Some days, some weekends it's good, some weekends it's bad. But Bottas, what a freaking baller. Like, Saturday, he outqualified both them. And in the race also, like, Miami was very brutal to drivers who stayed offline just even a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they got like really screwed and everything. So he was doing so well. But that Bottas energy is just spectacular. I don't know if you've been following him on social media. He's been like, you know, doing some triathlons, and like he's really into, like, you know, his wife, I think, is a cyclist and things like that.
He's been like going for it.
Yeah, loving life, which is awesome.
Yeah. On the flip side,
there's a complete shift in energy, right? Like from what we saw on Drive to Survive, where last year he was like, you know, I don't know my future, it's unpredictable, I don't know where I'm going. And now you're seeing this guy who's like,
oh no, this year I have full feeling that in this season Drive to Survive, he's gonna have like Ranveer Singh energy. Yeah. Like he's gonna like bust in on Toto's interview and like kick a mic stand over him.
They confirmed 2 more seasons this weekend, 5 and 6.
Yeah. 2 more seasons means 9 more American races incoming.
Oh no!
Over the next 5 years, basically.
Yeah, it's just going to be Formula America after a while. There's going to be a spin-off.
That's all it's going to be. Full on. I look forward for one to the Puerto Rico Grand Prix.
Yeah. There was this conversation, I don't know if it was during qualifying or free practice, but there was a big conversation with Mario Andretti also. They had him in the commentary box where they're looking at Andretti Racing being a F1 team by 2024, and again he had like that Trump energy. Yeah, it's gonna happen, man. We're gonna do it. He's asking all the questions, like, do you have the funding? He's like, yes. Do you have an engine? You have, yes. Are other teams okay with you? Is like, yes. So then what's stopping you? Like, yeah, we'll see. You know, it's just
like even Porsche and Audi, like the
they're coming
group announced that like Porsche and Audi are sort of going to look at 2026 as their entries.
Yeah, but as constructors or engine providers?
I mean, Porsche famously was a very poor engine constructor with the footwork team and everything. But like, I feel like both are considering either buying a team or, I mean, lots of teams are in talks with each of those manufacturers, and also they're considering their options by themselves. So whatever it is, it's awesome for the sport to have more high profile manufacturers back in the sport, you know.
Yeah, I would get the feeling that maybe a guy like Gene Haas will probably look at cashing out and selling the team to one of these teams, because anyway they would have an issue with like having 24 cars on the grid. So you might see those teams sort of disappearing. I think even Daddy Stroll at some point will be like, ठीक है, बहुत बच्चे का hobby कर लिया, अभी थोड़ा पैसा कमाते.
So Stroll didn't have the worst drive this weekend, has to be said. Like, Baby Stroll didn't have the worst drive this weekend.
Yeah. I think his worst moment was him pulling off insane overtakes and Crofty saying, oh, the wily old fox, Sebastian Vettel. I'm like, no, it's Stroll. And he's committing to it for 2 laps. He's like, Arey, Vettel. I'm like, bichara.
It's telling that if you see that car do a good thing, your assumption is it's not Stroll.
It's Vettel.
Oh, man.
But Mick Schumacher and go for it. Then we'll talk about
super chats very quickly. Yes. Esteban Ocon says Shubham. We talked about Esteban Ocon. Krishna says Mick after crash. Which daddy should I call first? Oof. Auto Joe says absolutely love the Sidepod. Yeah, we get in touch about that. We've done that. Who I got? Felt sorry. Baltri Vata says, felt sorry for my bachcha Zoo. So I treated him to porridge and coffee cooked using his burning engine. Tell me if you guys want some. Goddamn Baltiri. You salty. Aryan wants to know thoughts on post-race scenes with the cops and all. We'll get to that. And F1 Stats Guru says it's the first time in the hybrid era that Mercedes have finished 2 successive races outside the podium spots where either driver didn't suffer a DNF.
Wow.
And here we were being all like, yay, Mercedes.
Mercedes is back.
It's looking good.
Let's go.
It's looking good. Well, Stats Guru showed us. Krishna Sabne says, Trump and Latifi, let's build the wall.
No, I don't think Latifi is the guy who builds. I think Latifi is the guy who breaks. Yes.
Breaks
He's
the
the
wall,
anti-Trump.
He is. Pranav Oja says Checo did lots of laps on mediums with high fuel load while Ferrari did on softs and tried to extrapolate the data. I think that's where Red Bull won, and massive loss for Ferrari for not doing proper homework.
Yeah, it's true.
Should
we get into daddy issues?
We can. One last super chat from Jai Singh. Can we please speak about the fact that Latifi did not crash? I feel like we should not be celebrating these small things also so much. Yeah.
No, it's great for Azim must be celebrating. His one driver scored a point. Other driver didn't crash. I mean, mithai must have been
looking up.
in your
Things
house.
are looking up.
See, I only really recognize one side of the Williams pit garage.
Yeah, Raj. Yeah.
The other is just this other is just this wild card.
Wild card, yeah. Wild prediction.
Yeah, but Max Verstappen daddy issues. So basically, they were talking about, like, I read this entire article and there was a bunch of reporting about this, about how Jos Verstappen, of course, his dad was an F1 driver, drove for Arrows very famously. I still remember went into the back of Juan Pablo Montoya when he could have easily won the race. But I think from the beginning, they wanted him to get into racing, all of that. But like, this guy was like this proper, toxic Indian engineering parent dad. Like, tu kaisa fail hua, aisa kaisa kiya. And Max is just like laughing about like just all the.
His mom is a racer as well.
Yeah,
his mom was a racing driver as well.
So there's that story about how when he was like 12 or something like that, Joss left him on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Left him at a gas station.
He left him at a gas station. And then I think like Max walked home or some shit.
Then he clarified. He was like, no, I just left him there. His mom was coming anyway in 15 minutes, so she would pick him up. I was like, but
she didn't tell. But he declined to tell Max that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like, I mean, and this is, I think, after he had finished second, or I don't know if he had actually won the race or something like that. Where I think he made a tiny mistake that caused him to finish second or something like that, and then he just left him there. So I mean, obviously,
I'm sure chat will correct us.
Yeah, of course, and that's why I guess Max doesn't make those many like mistakes anymore. Like now, every time Max makes a mistake, I'm slightly fearful,
Yeah.
Like, because his dad is also there in the garage for every race.
Yeah.
Guys, last season, his dad did have this energy even now. Like, like I felt it. Like when he was like, at times I was like, okay, maybe he's just a really like passionate dad. But then I'm like, I've seen other passionate dads on the grid and they don't look scary.
Like he never smiles. He never, like, he is a proper, like he could be a villain in Daredevil easy, And
also I don't mean to be a dick, but like, actually I do mean to be a dick, because I mean, who cares about somebody who really treats their kid like that, really? But it's like, and at the cost of sounding like a dick here, like Max ne championship jeeta hai. Jos Verstappen kya ukhada hai? No offense, but kya ukhada hai tune?
But I guess it's also that, right? Like fulfilling your dreams through your kid. Like I think after a point where he realized that his kid has potential to kind of go the whole way, and that's where the toxic parenting comes in, where you have to do it, you have to win, it's not about like.
But also think about the level of potential. We're talking about like an otherworldly level of talent that was spotted at a really young age. It's like at a really young age, you knew that this kid was IIT, IIM, consultancy, FMCG, like the whole, like freaking the dream, at that itself. So you're talking about also like them identifying this at a very young age and then trying to maximize that potential at an accelerated pace. Like, I mean, he came into F1, he didn't have a normal driver's license. He couldn't drink alcohol. Like,
he never went to F2, he went straight from F3 to F1.
Yeah, from F3 straight into F1.
Josh slapped him straight into F1.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, even though he's like he's still a bachu, like whatever, he's like 20.
But that's what I feel like. I mean, this season we're seeing a more mature Max than last year for sure. But I mean, that's what I'm saying, that we kind of tend to forget that he's that young.
He's still a kid,
like,
Yeah, but Abhishu has a valid point in the chat. How much toxicity are you willing to accept in the name of performance? Like, in the sense, beyond a point. Like, it's like if you're like fucking J.K. Simmons and Whiplash, basically, and your whole life is that, then fuck. मैं तो मतलब सीधा गाड़ी चलाता मेरे बाप पे. Like, fuck. Like, at this point, I'm Max Verstappen. I'd be like, do you really want to fuck with the guy that can hurtle a 330 km/h projectile right at you, Joss? Like, this is an important thing to think about.
But I think, very often as kids, I feel like the kids kind of, even when they become an adult and then they're successful, they kind of feel like it's because of my parents pushed me that I made it this far. So they don't really blame them.
It's very evident in his interviews also.
Yeah.
That, it's nothing. It's just normal thing.
Even if you watch this,
that's just
Serena,
internalizing abuse, right?
The new movie, right, with the Serena Williams,
King Richard,
Venus, King Richard. Yeah. You kind of feel the same energy, but from the dad, and then you're like, but I guess it got them to where it got them today, right? Like, so I think that's where the kids kind of feel like they don't feel it like as toxic as you see it from the outside.
Yeah.
Especially if they are successful. I mean, I guess if you're not successful, then you feel like, you messed with me and wasted like 20 years of my life.
And $20 million.
Yeah.
But I did see a great tweet that day where somebody said that, see, if your parents thought it was okay to do it to you as a child and didn't consider it child abuse, just remember that one day they'll be old and then it should also not be considered to be elder abuse. And I'm like, that's a great philosophy to live your life with. And I feel like more parents should be reminded of that fact.
The Sidepod is now also a parenting podcast now.
That's right.
Yeah. I love how
it's for people who don't have kids.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, does anybody here have a child? Like, that's it, Arya.
Lots of cats.
That's it, Arya. It's time. I'm going to go leave you at a gas station right now.
But we have been children, we've been children, so it's okay. We know what we're saying.
Exactly. We've been to Abhyuday Chaturvedi Singh, stick to racing. Badwe, apna podcast hai. Tu jana. Sorry. We will stick to whatever we want. Seriously. Okay. Pranav Ojha saying, stick to the topic, guys, please. We will talk about whatever we want. It's our podcast, guys. I don't think you understand how this works. We have the mic. So, like, why are you guys discussing this? Because we can. That's why. Because we can.
The next few minutes are going to be just us discussing Vettel's chuddy over his suit.
Yeah,
what brand
really.
was it?
Like,
why was it there?
Exactly. Like, exactly that. But, yeah.
Okay. Let us move on now. Speaking of daddy issues, let us move on to Mick Schumacher getting whacked by Sebastian Vettel. And you knew, like, Seb really has a soft corner from him. Just from his reaction, it's like, oh no, I didn't see him. Yeah. Oh shit. Like Sebastian Vettel, who has just been like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Who's gone and literally whacked into the side of Lewis Hamilton for slowing him down. This guy is like, "Arey, mera bachcha, theek hai, chalta hai yaar, it's okay." But felt for him. That could have been his first point.
Yeah, it really could have. And it
will come though. I mean, I feel it will come.
I mean, yeah, sure, but it's just it was just touching distance, right? And something is like at touching distance, and then it goes.
But I kind of felt it when they kept talking about it. I was like, okay, so it's gonna be wrong. I was like, commentator's curse is going to happen.
It's like when a character in your favorite TV show is too happy.
Yeah.
Because they kept saying it, right? Like they were like, okay, this is gonna be his first point. This is his best so far.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't do it, guys. It's happening. Yeah. And then Daddy has just like.
Yeah, it was very sad.
Like, that's basically it.
Yeah, and even Aston Martin was like, "Ye kitna wing todega yaar ye aadmi? How many times do we have to repair this guy's car?" So
yeah, really, na?
And then they started from the pit lane also, both of them, the Astons. There was something where the fuel was too cool.
Hot. Too cool. Yeah.
Too cool, apparently. And I'm sure there's some physics there that some kind of people on chat will explain to us. But like for some reason, again, they had to start from the pit lane. It's like, gosh.
Just.
Yeah. But guys, overall thoughts on the race? Like, what was it? Like, exciting? I mean, I was excited at the get-go and towards the end, as Arjun said in the beginning. But in between, it did get kind of slow and like...
I'll just admit it. I fell asleep in the middle.
Yeah,
I did. I fell asleep in the middle.
Past your bedtime.
It did not help that it started at 1 a.m. because...
No, sure. But then there was a point in the middle where that coupled with the fact that it was... Like, this thing was quite hardcore. Like, in the sense, there was a point somewhere around like lap 20 onwards where it became quite like lull you to sleep.
Till that safety car came, I think it was at that point was when it was like, I was like, okay, should I just go to sleep? Is this it? Like,
like, you know, there are points where you find yourself doing artificial things just to stay awake. Right? Like, just so that you don't fall asleep. I had to do like a lot of that. Like, I had to really do a lot of that. So, yeah. I had to do a lot of like, I'm going to go make myself a drink now. And I'm going to go wash my face now. And lots of that.
It had its moments. The weekend in general had its moments, but it was kind of 50-50. Like on either side, like I said, like little bit of style, little bit of substance. 50-50 ads. I'd say 5 out of 10 broken front wings. That's what I give it.
Neha Super Chat, do you think Max had daddy issues or why he was that aggressive last year because he was subconsciously scared of us far to react if he didn't win? Possibly. Who knows? Ankit said, I also fell asleep in the middle, then Gasly was my alarm clock. Fair. Siddhant.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Right. Those are our super chats. Anything else? Or do we telemetrize it?
Yeah, I think we can telemetrish. Sorry, I think the audio might have just glitched for a second over there, but it'll be fine now.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't realize this new thing that I have has a fucking 1 hour limit, so I have to buy a subscription.
Really? Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. But should we race pointers? So Arjun gave it 5. What's everyone else giving it?
4.5.
5, which then gets downgraded to 4 just for like the absolute tackiness of it, like towards the end. So
the extra,
1 point deducted for too much Americanness.
Yeah.
So I'll give it 4.
Yeah, I would give it 6 and then dock the 1 point for being American. So 5. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Fair. Let us know in chat. What are your ratings?
Ankit Mishra saying Red Bull engineers telling Azim that his audio is okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. That only, whatever you said. Yeah.
That's what you just said.
HD.
All right. Should we tell guys give your ratings also in the chat? Ooh, chat has been quite like brutal. 2 on 10, 1 on 10, 3.5.
Oh my days.
Yeah.
But I mean, we will have a little bit more of that next week also. I mean, next to next week in Spain. Purely because of actually they've changed the track around now, so there should be a little bit more overtaking. The last twisty section, they've sort of done an Abu Dhabi on it, where there was the twisty section, which has now just become one long sweeping corner.
Nice.
So we should have, because that was at the end of the braking zone, there was very tight hairpin and then just follow and again this thing. So they have changed the layout a little bit, maybe a little bit better racing this time.
The major upgrades to expect?
I think Ferrari will have upgrades coming for Spain. So look out for that. I don't know who else is there. Let's see.
I think there were some teams that were very strong in Barcelona and pre-season testing before Bahrain. And I feel like those teams are going to be strong again. Like, I think McLaren, like Kazim was also sort of mentioning, might have a good weekend and stuff. And I feel like, now that we're getting back into Europe, I think there's Monaco also So I feel like it's a good time now for the bigger set of upgrades to start coming in for the teams. Though these big cars at Monaco will be so clunky. We'll talk about that on the preview of the next one.
The Monaco race, where we can just completely ignore anything that Leclerc is going to do anyway, and just stick to focusing on the other drivers.
Shall we telemetrize?
Let's telemetrize. Let's telemetry. Yeah, Jitendra, that's a good point. Imagine driving at 300 plus kilometers an hour. Good evening. And arguing with your team about engine problems and still managing to not crash. That's true.
Also, on like you guys were talking about Monaco just then. Good news for Mercedes fans, Sherry. Literally, like for porpoising and stuff, there's not enough straight road for porpoising. You don't go fast enough for porpoise.
It's only gonna get better and better, guys.
And the yachts are on actual water. It's just upgrade after upgrade.
There's actual water and actual yachts. It's crazy.
Real pani is there.
The trip. What a trip.
Yeah.
Shall we
have his Siri. Nice, subtle one, huh? Subtle one, Aditya. Thought we wouldn't notice.
How is that? So Azim was talking about this, how Red Bull did well to have Max that good, right? It was like Max was brilliant, but he was sticking to a script.
Yeah.
Because free practice, right? Free practice 1, 2, 3. First of all, it's a new track. Why do you have 60 minutes for each practice session? It's not enough. And second of all, it's constant red flags and interruption of red flags. And so who's really learning anything from, especially free practice 1, okay, whatever, first ever time you're running cars, you're just collecting data, cool. Free practice 2 is where you generally do your long stints, like you put more fuel in the car and get on mediums or hards or whatever, and then do long runs, which also wasn't possible in FP2 because I think Sainz crashed then. And so if you've not done long stints, race simulations on Friday, at least when you come for FP3, you probably do it then, and maybe keep last 15-20 minutes of that session to do your quali simulation with your soft tires. But what I saw with FP2, Sainz was out, but Leclerc did like 2 laps on race simulation runs.
Yeah.
Right? And then they bring him back on Saturday morning, and he's on his soft tires and he's doing his qualifying simulation.
Yeah.
But then when you think about it, like for the race, where do you run soft tires?
Yeah.
Right. But that's the plan that Red Bull was sticking to. FP2, even FP3, mediums and hards, and constantly putting in laps for with the mediums and the hards. And I believe the entire philosophy of, I don't know what Ferrari thought, maybe because the car is so good, well balanced everywhere, they just sort of took it for granted.
Yeah.
That we'll do qualifying well, and then we'll get to the race and do what we can when it happens. But Red Bull worked properly on it, and Max sort of becoming that driver. Honestly, like that's the driver Lewis Hamilton has been for years. This sort of robot that does exactly what the team wants, and it's not a fuss. And
that's
now
very insightful.
And it's like Max Verstappen's doing this, everyone be scared.
Like,
how is Max Verstappen doing this? And he's got his Max Verstappen-ness about him still.
Yeah.
Cool. Damn.
Right? So first of all, the start, as Azim said, it was crucial to get by Sainz, and especially the Sainz who's trying to avoid a hat trick of DNFs. So just go around his outside, he'll open the door, he'll let you by, please. Because if you're stuck behind this guy, Sainz for 10 laps also, it's done.
Yeah.
Even with all the homework that you've done, it's done. Right. So sticking to the script, I think it was like on lap 5, 6, 7, Max still doesn't have DRS on Leclerc, but he's sticking with him everywhere where the parts where the Ferrari is faster, Max is still sticking with him. The only advantage is the straight line speed. You see the top speeds here and here is like a 10 kph differential.
Yeah.
So inching closer because he knows exactly what the tires are doing, when to back off, when to not. Perfect. And then lap 8, he's got that overspeed with DRS. It's like a 24 kph thing. And it's just easy. Coming on to lap 9, I believe, is where it was just easy. And he drove off. Like he just drove off.
I mean, even the fact that, in the high speed sections at the start, the fact that Max could be around also was damn good. I feel like these new cars, the closer racing that they're providing, you can see it playing an impact in the title battle, which is awesome.
Yep. So if there was no safety car, we wouldn't have seen, I mean, we didn't see Max for a lot of it anyway, but we just wouldn't have seen him.
Yeah.
And also coming back to it after the safety car, the composure to not be Max Verstappen about it and overdrive the tires, right? Because I wrote this Pakistan thing. So you see now how the straights are all red because it's Leclerc with the DRS, and Leclerc is the one with the overspeed and the general lap time, but he's still just not throwing the tires, keeping calm, and he slowly eases him out of DRS, and it just falls back that top speed differential, and he's finished the race.
That's that maturity that Sherry was talking about with Max.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, it's showing in the races as well and these strategies. Like, I don't know if, like, for example, Abu Dhabi, when the safety car went back, like Max could have waited for the straight to take that position on Lewis last year. And I feel like this year you may see something like that from Max, like just that extra bit of patience and that extra bit of, okay, I know how to get this done.
I think he learned it in Saudi Arabia only after like 2 times getting burned. 3 times, in fact, if you count Bahrain with Leclerc.
Yeah.
I think he's learned to just play that waiting game now.
It's almost as if you get one championship and it just comes to you.
Yeah, but it's also I think that desperation to get the first championship was also a factor last year, which I think is not there now because it's done. I mean, of course, that it was so
easier
close
said than
and
done.
so
Yeah,
but as in the sense of, I think that obviously is a huge factor of where you're making not so wise decisions sometimes. And that was happening with, I mean, I'm saying across where it was so tight that everyone was like really desperate, right? So I think that also, but this year he's definitely like leaps and bounds more mature than like I've ever seen him. I mean,
I know there was almost an approach thing where Red Bull said, you guys can just have pole if you want, but you've got this plan here.
Yeah, they didn't seem to beat up about it. I mean, at least Max didn't seem to beat up about like being P3,
But he was quite upset after the pre-practice sessions where he was like the scar and the this and that. So he was complaining about the team quite a bit. But I think when he's in that car, he has complete trust in what the team is telling him to do, which is, I mean, that and contrast that now to what we see with Hamilton, where he's like, I don't know, you guys tell me, you guys have fucked me on strategy. So yeah, I think it's easier to trust the team when you're on top.
Yeah. Also, talking about Hamilton. I mean, not talking about Hamilton, talking about Russell. Or like, reference to Hamilton.
Good flip, 10 on 10.
Yeah.
So Russell's been on these tires, 35 laps? And Hamilton just got on them like a few laps ago. And why is the lap time similar?
Crazy.
It's the same lap time. Like, obviously, fortune favors the brave and all. But to be there, especially like, okay, there's a gap here, but from here to here, it's half a second throughout.
Yeah, and it's not even like they were in DRS of each other. So like the spikes are the laps where they've got DRS basically. Oh no, sorry, or made a mistake or whatever.
or they pit.
Yeah.
Damn.
And also, like, this is almost blasphemous to talk about, but Russell's behind with faster rubber, and neither of them are in the championship fight. How do you not ask Hamilton to get out of the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, did you see the thing
not-
where Russell passed him slightly off track and then he
Yeah,
had to
and
give the
then-
position back? And
It's like, it's so blasphemous that Russell also didn't think about it.
yeah, and
Like,
then
to even
Bottas just watching this in his rear view mirror, being like,
Yeah,
ah,
really.
Yeah.
Is
I
it
remember
blasphemous
that.
or is it like Toto on the phone to Russell and being like, यार आज रात डिनर पे बहुत सीन होगा यार, तू ये किया तो मतलब मत कर, तू समझ नहीं रहा, मेरे को बहुत सुनना पड़ेगा यार, जॉर्ज प्लीज.
yeah. छोड़ यार, जेम्स तू ही बात कर यार, come on.
जेम्स यार नहीं हो रहा यार.
Stuck behind for a few laps. Probably could have, especially with that 20 kph whatever Checo had with the problem. You can go for like P4. I mean, Bottas missed it a bit, so P5. Otherwise, could have been just P6.
Yeah.
If you're maximizing points for a team that's not winning the championship this year.
I mean, Russell has been doing that, like, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Every
Lewis has
race
done,
he's
apart from
had.
Imola, he's done pretty much what he could with the car on the day. He got unlucky with those safety cars and all of that.
Yeah.
I think they should just put Lewis on alternate strategy by default from now. You know, कि अच्छा चल देखते तेरा safety car आएगा क्या? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And those races there will be no safety car. That will be the beauty of it.
Stop it, guys. You're not really mean.
See, we're still saying they'll finish the race. Very.
This is just like really like a Hamilton hate club, boys. It's not good.
Oh no.
Hey man, I got no hate.
No, I'm just
Towards it?
kidding. Yeah.
He's just
no,
having
I'm
a
just
bad year.
kidding. This Aditya's graph has really opened a new door today. Unfortunately, even I can't say much at this point, so I
Yeah.
suggest we move to the next one.
There is
Yeah.
no next one.
Yeah, I think Russell watches.
Oh.
Russell is secretly watching this show and he's taking screenshots of all the graphs and pasting them on his walls in
Next
his
week.
bedroom.
He made a PPT. He would have probably made a PPT.
DMing them
Like,
from an
watch-
alt account to Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, that's who Aditya's been sending his resume to, no?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Okay.
Thanks,
Right.
Aditya. That was
Thank
great.
you.
That was
Great as
awesome.
always.
And I hope sending your CV out has good results also.
Yes.
How did that?
It's
Never mind.
okay. I'll just edit that part out of the
If you could.
stream later. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll do that.
Okay. Chalo, I have to run to make
Yeah,
it for
all
the
right.
show.
We
So,
don't need to
yes,
do any predictions. We don't need to do any of that because
Yeah.
we will have a preview episode
maybe,
next week.
Yes.
maybe, and we can do all our predictions then. Anybody, any announcements? Stuff you got coming up over the next few weeks?
Today, guys.
What?
I have something I want to plug.
Okay.
So I started a petition which I sent you guys on WhatsApp for pets to travel in our main cab operators, Ola, Uber, and I would love it if we could put that in the description. To
will
have
do
a
that.
pet-friendly tab, so you can just click on it if you want to like travel with your pet, and the drivers have already pre-approved and all of that. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. So check that out. If there are, yeah, we should share this with mods, so maybe they can put it in the chat. Actually, Rohan, you should make us
I'll
also
put in the
mods,
description
so then
also.
we can
Yeah, I'll make you
also
guys also mods.
put. I have what do I have? Oh, I have a show in Navi Mumbai on the 21st. If anyone wants to come there, it's a place called Backspace where I'm doing 1 hour. And
great venue.
Yes, and soon to be announced, Angad and me are going on a tour of India together. So the first show is live, which is at Habitat in Bombay for June. You can also search for that on Book My Show. But yeah, that is pretty much more or less it. We have 442 at 11 o'clock after this. So if you're into football, you can come watch that.
Yes. Multiverse of Madness stream. I think Sahil and I will probably talk about it this week because we've both seen it and we both have strong and differing opinions on the subject. I also have a spot tomorrow at the Habitat, the 10 p.m. show. So
I'll also
if
be
you
there.
guys are doing
Majay.
anything. Oh, amazing. I'll see you at 10 tomorrow then. And that's pretty much it. Arjun, Aditya, any?
Sign Sherry's petition, please, everyone.
Yes.
That's my plug. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay, thank you, friends, for watching another episode of the
Thank you.
Sidepod. It's been super fun. Smash a like before you leave. Subscribe to the channel. Do all the things. Follow people on Instagram, etc., etc.
Do all the things.
And do all the things and enjoy your life. And again, I think this should be the closing. This thing that guys, drive safe because it is better to be late than Latifi. Wonders. Okay.
Oh, Guru.
Take
On
care.
that note, I
Bye,
am ending the
bye.
stream because what else is really left to say?
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.